Simple Guy here, and today we are reviewing the CGSULIT SC870 Diagnostics tool. The SC870 is an all-system, all-make scanner with some special functions. Let's take a closer look and see if it's what you are looking for and why it's half the price of the CG680 Pro that I have reviewed in the past. Both are great scanners, but we'll find out what the difference actually is. So that's what the scanner is going to look like. It supports all systems, all makes. It does out-of-in scan, so that's pretty cool. You don't have to enter what car you are in. It will do it for you. Has a 4.3-inch LCD screen, free updates via computer. Best value, sure, I'll take that. Okay, here on the side, it does graphs, so that's pretty cool. You can graph, looks like two items at the same time. Here in the back, it shows us what the functionality is, oil resets, electronic parking brake, ABS, AC. Okay, so we'll check what those actually are and what they do. And it supports 80 US, Asian, and European vehicle makes, so pretty much everything that was made after 1996. And of course, it supports the latest models as well. All right, cool. Let's take it out of the box. With the paper off, let's open it up and see what's inside. All right, so we have the scanner itself, some cables, and instruction manuals. So let's take a closer look at these. So we got warranty. I think it has a full year warranty. Yeah, 1 year limited warranty, so that's good. Now you have your manual. The entire manual is in English, so you can read through that if you've never used one of these before, but it should be pretty self-explanatory. We also get a mini USB cable, our OBD2 cable, and the scanner itself. So let's take that. All right, so it's definitely a bigger size. It's not a tiny little scanner, which is good. It's substantial. It feels like high quality. We have something in here. Let's take a look. That's where your SD card goes. So if you want to update it via the computer without plugging this in, and you want to just plug in the SD card, you can do that. We have our kind of like touch tone buttons, but they're more clicky. So I like the clicky buttons. You definitely know when you've clicked it. On the back, a little bit more information here in the back, and it has this rubberized coating on the outside, just like the other one, which I like because you're not gonna destroy it by dropping it a couple of times or something like that. And you will drop it most likely because you're working on cars and it's not always the cleanest or smoothest of environments. Anyway, let's go plug this into a car and see what it actually does. Alright, now that we're in the car, let's take a closer look and see what this device can do for you. So let's start with the main menu. Here we have out-of-in, OBD2, diagnostics, and maintenance, which I will review each one of those in just a minute. Here at the bottom we have settings, so if you want to change certain things like language, units, shortcuts, and so the shortcuts are the ones here at the bottom. So you have the 3 shortcuts. You can change those if you like, or you can enable beeps and things like that and test the display. So it's standard stuff, nothing I would really worry about unless you need a different language. So here are all the languages that are available here. Actually, it has a lot more than most. Usually it's only like 3. Anyway, the next one is data manager. So if you take basically like reports, you can save them in here and then review them later. We'll check that later if we run a report. Update, you can run an update from your computer. So if you plug into a computer, you would go here to get it updated. Easy enough. And then we get to the main event. So we have out-of-in. Out-of-in is basically the same as diagnostics. What it will do, it will automatically search the car for you instead of going to diagnostics and doing it manually. All right, so first I'll show you the manual way, and I'll just go to diagnostic. Here we have to pick which country the car was manufactured. So this is a BMW, so I'm going to go to Europe, and here we can select BMW. And then it's going to ask us if we want to use the smart VIN or if we do a manual selection. So you can go ahead and do manual selection, choose which series you have, which car you have, etc. Or you can do the easy way and go all the way to the back and use out-of-in. So all we're going to do is just hit enter, and it's going to scan the whole car for us. So we can put actually the VIN number manually, or we can have it automatically scanned, which is what we're trying to do. All right, so yes, that is correct. That's my VIN number. All right, so it took about a minute for it to figure everything out, but now we have the option of diagnosis, only option, so we're going to select it. And now we can go to control modules or do a quick scan. Quick scan will automatically select all of the modules that are available in this vehicle, and control modules will allow you to do it manually. So if you want to go in and choose a specific module in the drive system or in the chassis or in the body, you can do that. I don't think we should. We can just scan the entire car and see what it finds. As you can see, the scanner has figured out that this car has 22 different systems, but each system could have multiple modules within it. I know in my BMW 550 it had 2 engine modules as an example, so it's very much possible to have more than one module per system. So it's scanning all of them, and it's going to show everything that's available on this car. As I mentioned, this is a full system scanner, so it means it can scan every single module on pretty much any car. So you know, you can scan your ABS, you can see live data for ABS systems, transmission, you know, basically anything you can imagine. Suspension, if you have stuff like that. I mean, look, parking brake, soft top module. So this car is a, you know, has retractable roof, so you can do that. Anti-theft system. I mean, pretty much anything you can imagine, even the instrument cluster. So what can you do with this data? Well, you can go into each one of these modules scanned. As an example, we go into the instrument cluster. We can read the codes and see if there's anything available to, you know, to see. If you have any issues on the car, you can also clear those codes. And you have to understand that this is module specific codes, not just standard, you know, generic OBD2 codes that don't really mean anything. But in addition to that, we can also go to live data and see sensors, solenoids, and different things in like live. You can see them live, right? So as an example, we can see control module input, see what's in here. As an example, we have, well, let's select all of them. So select all, and we're gonna click OK. All right, so we have all of that data, right? So we have the BC button. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but the BC button is right there. So see how it says not pressed? I'm gonna press the button. Pressed. Let go, not pressed. So, or we can do the same thing for the instrument cluster button. Pressing the button, press, let go, unpress. So it's pretty much within what, half a second, it shows live data for those specific buttons or sensors or whatever it may be, which doesn't sound that important if you're doing something like this. But if you're troubleshooting an issue where, let's say your, I don't know, your key's not working, you can see if it's actually the button on the door that's not working, or it's something within the module, or it's further down. So you can definitely troubleshoot things a lot easier. Also, you can graph this stuff. So it will graph, I think it's up to 2, let's see, multi-graph, we'll see if that's, yeah, I think you can do up to 2 graphs. And look at that, it graphs it really nicely, so you can see what's going on, you know, if you have different sensors that you need to see the data for. All right, I think you get the idea of, you know, seeing live data from any module on pretty much any car. And here, just to show you how you can clear the codes on a specific module, we're going to go to the alarm system or anti-theft system. And as you can see, there's some coding error on this car, which I'm aware of. You can also freeze frame it, so we can save it for later review. All right, so we're going to save that. I'll show you how to retrieve it in a second. All right, yeah, we're going to save that right there. All right, and we're going to go back. But we can also, after reading the codes, we can go back and clear those specific codes. So codes cleared, boom, read codes, nothing there. All right, so of course, if I drive the car for a little bit and restart, it might come back. But at the moment, we have cleared the codes, and you know, everything looks good on this car. All right, so this is basically the main functionality of this scanner and why, you know, it's worth the money that they're asking for it. I think at the moment it's like $185, $190, which honestly is a pretty good deal. Now, what else can you do on it? Besides scanning all of the modules and doing things like that, you can of course do OBD2 functionality. So this is standard OBD2 functionality that pretty much most scanners do. We're gonna auto select the protocol, which, yes, of course you can do that. And here you have your system status for emissions. So it'll tell you if your car will pass emissions or not. You can click OK. And of course we have the standard functionality like I mentioned, read code. So these are going to be generic OBD2 codes. So that anti-theft code would not show up in here, but you can read the generic ones, which are usually just for the engine and the transmission. You can of course see live data. This is pretty good actually. You can see PIDs. It will find all of the PIDs, but these are once again just the generic PIDs, not specific to a module, but you can select a full list and have all of that information that's pretty much just related to the engine and the transmission. So for the basic stuff, it's very useful. You can see your short-term fuel trims and things like that, manifold pressure and all of that good stuff. Still very useful, but I do prefer using the module-specific items. IM readiness. So here we have if the car would pass emissions, but more information. So more than just what we saw when we first got into this menu. But yeah, you can see it here. You can pause it, make sure everything is good. Looks fine for me. A couple other items in here. You can do component tests, but this car doesn't support it. And you can do DTC lookup. So if you want to look up a code and see what it means, you can do that here as well. But this is not the kind of the bread and butter of this scanner, as a lot of scanners that are 50, 60 bucks can do that. The most important part here is the diagnostics, where you can scan all of the modules on all vehicles. I keep saying it, but that's what makes this scanner, good. So I want to make sure you understand. So the other part that's really good about the scanner is the maintenance functions that it has included. So you have two free functions or two free special functions that are included. First one is the EPB, or the electronic parking brake. This will release the electronic parking brake before changing the brake pads. It's necessary to perform this job on pretty much any modern vehicle. And of course, if needed, it can also initialize new wear indicators and even reset the reminders for brakes. So I know on BMWs, there's a sensor on the front left wheel, I believe, that tells you if the tire is about to, or the brake pads are almost worn out, and you get a notification saying, hey, you have to replace your brakes soon, which is great. But once you replace it, you have to reset it, and this will do it for you. But most importantly, it will wind back the motor on the electronic parking brake so you can actually change the brakes. The next one is the oil reset. So that kind of makes sense on its own. You can reset the light after you've changed the oil. You can change the intervals on certain cars for how long the oil should be in the car before it needs to be replaced, and things like that. So this is perfect for an enthusiast or a small shop that does a lot of oil changes and brake jobs, as it pretty much covers practically all models and allows you to scan all modules to find any other possible issues, so you can upsell them on some other work that you may need to do. This also comes with free lifetime upgrades, so that's pretty cool, but it does have to go through a computer, which is not amazing, but hey, it does work, right? All right, so that's the maintenance part. Now let's go back to the data manager, like I mentioned earlier, and this is where we can see the freeze frame. So you know how I saved that freeze frame from scanning the car? We can go in and we can see that information from the time of freezing that frame. So it's kind of like a screenshot, which I really like. But that pretty much concludes the review of this scanner. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions. Just to summarize, I love that it has all system, all makes scanner basically, so you can scan any module. I love that it has the two maintenance items included. Those are easy to use and basically free with lifetime upgrades and updates. We can also do the standard OBD2 functionality. Some of the negatives, well, it doesn't include more than two special functions, but at this price range, it's surprising that they even include that. So I like that a lot. I love the construction on this. Very solid. I know, from using the other one for a while, it will not break. Also, the difference between this one and the SC680 Pro is that the 680 Pro has a lot more maintenance items, but it's also more than twice as expensive. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave your comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.